Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. The gun control debates in high gear as Vice President Joe Biden prepares to present task force recommendations to President Obama this week.
I think the nation is ready for more thorough background checks so that we cover the 40% that now are not covered.
Democratic Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal also telling Fox News Sunday he thinks the nation is ready for another assault weapons ban and a ban on high-capacity magazines. But it's not clear yet what has enough support to pass Congress.
We've got to face the reality that we've got to empower average people.
Larry Pratt, Executive Director of Gun Owners of America. The NRA has accused the White House of an agenda to attack the Second Amendment. Reports of an Italian consul coming under fire in Benghazi, Libya, 4 months after the deadly attack on the U.S. consulate there. The Italian official was attacked while in his car. He was not injured. Italy's foreign minister releasing a statement calling it a fresh attempt to destabilize Libya. A big change in the fight against the flu in New York, where a statewide public health emergency has been declared.
The good thing is the governor has decided to allow pharmacists to give flu vaccines to younger children, infants and children, 6 months and older.
The head of the ER at New York's St. Barnabas Hospital. Up to now, the age limit for pharmacists was 18 to give a flu shot. New York State alone reporting more than 19,000 cases of the flu so far, some 5 times the amount as all of last season. More trouble for Boeing's Dreamliner. Japan Airlines reporting a fuel leak in a 787 for the second time in a week. Reportedly the same aircraft that had a fuel leak in Boston. That and other recent incidents, including electrical problems, have prompted the FAA to launch a probe of the 787. But the U.S. government also says the Dreamliner is safe to fly. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
I can solve difficult problems for a Fortune 500 company.
I can run a successful business.
I can manage your home improvements.
I can publicize your message.
I can motivate your audience.
I can put my military experience to work for your company.
I can teach your children.
I can boost your bottom line.
I can add value to your workplace.
I could be a loyal and productive employee.
But I can't put my skills to work for your organization
if I'm not given the opportunity.
If you don't recognize my talents and ability.
If you don't hire me.
If you don't have an open mind and a workplace that's open to everyone.
If you don't realize that America works best when everybody works.
What can you do?
What can you do?
What can you do?
You can remember that it worked.
It's what people can do.
It's what people can do that matters.
Nearly 50 million Americans have disabilities. Capitalize on their talents with employment practices that benefit everyone. Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
It's your car. You take it to people you trust.
That's just an estimate, little lady.
They're your children. You want to keep them safe.
Hey kids, shut your traps!
It's your health. You want a doctor with experience.
Hey Joan, I'm Skip, and I'll be your doctor today.
I'm fine. Thanks.
It's your finances. You want to go to the experts.
It's quick and easy. Cut your payments by 50%.
Go to people with experience, real people you can trust.
We've got to find a way to get out from under this debt.
We can help.
The National Foundation for Credit Counseling is a nonprofit organization that has been helping people for 60 years. Our certified counselors can help you eliminate your debt and teach you ways to stay out of debt. Speak with a counselor today at 800-388-2227 or visit debtadvice.org. National Foundation for Credit Counseling. Real solutions for real people. This is a public service campaign for the NFCC.
Talk 1090 is the talk of Muskegon.
And good morning, West Michigan. This is the Renegade River Show, and no, I have not had a larynx transplant. This is not Mike Hewitt, although Mike is on the line. This is Jim Riley. I'm the host of the Eye on Muskegon show on Sunday mornings. Mike Hewitt, the host of this show, is in Las Vegas, and he is on the telephone. Mike, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jim. It's I don't know if I ever planned on being a guest on my own show, but I kind of like it.
You got to love that. Yeah, and when I say good morning, that's to you. It's a little afternoon here in one of the drearier days here in Muskegon. But you're in beautiful, sunny, I would imagine, Las Vegas. What's going on down there?
Well, I got to tell you, it is morning here. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and of course in Las Vegas I have a cold snap, and it's been in the 30s. So, of course, about the time my trip is over with, it's supposed to be back in the 60s. So
for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare, you can see any dentist you choose and never pay a deductible. Get coverage for less than $1 a day and put less money where your mouth is. For your free information kit with all the details, call 1-800-719-5536. 1-800-719-5536.
It's perfect for getting me pumped up for the big game.
It's perfect for psyching me up to hit the gym.
It's perfect for
tell us, why are
iHeartRadio introduces Perfect For, the perfect tunes for the mood and moment, all at the touch of a finger. It's perfect for anything. 1,500 live radio stations, 15 million songs, and custom stations perfect for anytime. Best of all, it's free. Check it out and download the app at iHeartRadio.com.
I love cocktail party trivia like this. From 1939 to 1942, there was an undersea post office in the Bahamas. Fortunately, Radio Jennifer always has a smart and interesting guest to help offset my lack of knowledge about things that actually matter. Tune in to Radio Juniper every Wednesday morning at 9 on News Talk 1090 WKBZ to learn some important stuff and some not so important stuff. Guess which ingredient I'm adding to the soup.
You either have to be a federal firearms license.
Another Hurricane Sandy relief bill is working its way through the House. This is a new bill because it's now a new Congress, and it can't carry over legislation from the previous Congress. Part of the reason that House Speaker John Boehner had to torpedo the last package was that Republicans didn't want to approve $60 billion in new spending without matching cuts elsewhere in the federal budget. Republicans are now adding dozens of amendments to do just that. Fox News Radio's Chad Pedram, House GOP leaders created an uproar when they scrapped a similar package on New Year's Day. Award season continues to roll along. Tonight, it's the Golden Globes honoring the best in TV and movies.
That's
among the nominees.
For the best dramatic film, Argo, Django Unchained, Life of Pi, Lincoln, and Zero Dark 30.
I'm assuming that you're going to be sitting in some seminars.
As for TV dramas, Breaking Bad, Boardwalk Empire, Downton Abbey, Homeland, and The Newsroom are all up against each other.
Fox Radio, Sabrina Sabah. Fox News, we report. You decide.
A handful of other organizations will be there.
Here's the official News Talk 1090 WKBZ forecast. The winter weather advisory continues till 11 a.m. A light wintry mix of precipitation this morning will transition to a few snow showers this afternoon with a high of 32. Northwest winds 10 to 20. Scattered flurries and snow showers tonight, a low of 21. Northwest winds 20 to 30. Flurries and a few snow showers expected throughout the day tomorrow with a high of 26. And then a mix of sun and clouds on Tuesday at a high in the low 30s. News Talk 1090, the talk of Muskegon.
What do you think is going on? But I want to talk directly to Ruger, and I want to talk directly to Smith and Wesson.
Okay, and I will tell you, as someone who's relatively new to the gun world, I bought a couple of pistols over the last 5 or 6
morning,
years.
Muskegon. This is Ian Muskegon, and I'm Jim Riley, your host for this friendly little community conversation about politics, Michigan politics, West Michigan politics, Muskegon County, even national.
And she's concerned, as so many people
international
are,
politics
because
and what's going on in the world today. And I'm here in Muskegon's Clear Channel Studios with the legendary and healthier with the new ticker parts, Oscar
ticker parts.
We've got we know that what Muskegon Heights, at least at some point within the last year or so, was down to 5 or 6
powerful Wizard of Oz.
There we go. He's got we got the folks who promised to protect us. Old friend Tracy Lorenz, businessman, columnist, author,
to protect ourselves.
Smart guy.
I think that's true, but I got to admit,
there we go. So anyway, Tracy's with us also.
When they're making those
At the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to have a call in from a regular contributor and a guy who I have a tremendous amount of respect for also, and that's Jack Spencer from the Mackinac Center. And we will be talking with Jack a little more about prevailing wage. And the reason that this term prevailing wage is important is that it may cost us here in Muskegon anywhere between $2 million and $5 million, and perhaps even more additional dollars if this jail is ever built in Muskegon County. And there's a way to stop this from costing us and still build the jail, but it would save us millions and millions of dollars. And we're going to talk about that
with Jack Spencer.
That's going on in the
and that's at the 9 o'clock hour. And I get accused of forgetting to talk about the fact that we are a call-in show, and we have had some problems and maybe some little errors when people do call in, and we're looking in another direction. But we
just as an example, huge light and a big siren go off.
Event that's going on today. We get all geeked out over here. We're talking about important things that do matter.
What kind of time frame is it going to take me to get it going?
Please, we'd love to hear from you. The number is 231-830-3109. And in the event you do call and you don't get through, go to Ian Muskegon and you can, there's the email address there, which is ionmuskegon@gmail.com. Send me a hate note and let me know that you tried. And
I'm the hate note expert.
Tracy, you've never gotten a hate note, have you?
15 minutes with your firearm.
Yeah, I've gotten 4.
After a nice background check has been done to make sure that you're not,
I can imagine when you did your flip-flop column so many years ago.
Bastards.
And so that was pretty easy.
Okay, anyway, so we do want to hear from you. 831-3109. And some housekeeping items. And I got to tell you, I just got an email from someone, and I'm not going to go into great detail, but there are forces and powers within the state of Michigan, both from the left and from the right, that do not want this conversation to happen. And that is, not so much a conversation here, I can assure you this morning, plenty of people in Muskegon County probably want this conversation to happen, but
and a normal
tomorrow
person
night,
who's interested in owning a firearm,
the newly reinvigorated Muskegon County Republican Party will be having their regular monthly meeting. It will be at 6 o'clock at Muskegon Community College. It's room 1202. That's in the thing that's going to be dropped. The way I would view it, it's in the back building. Tracy, do you know if that's got a term for it?
The back building, I believe.
Okay,
it's the one where the rooms aren't, the floors aren't numbered upside down.
Yeah, the floors are. Yeah, it's a very confusing. But anyway, it's room 1202, and but they're going to be having, in addition to their regular meeting, and by the way, this is an open forum. It's an open meeting for anyone in the county. But another expert, actually, this is the Director of Labor Policy from the Mackinac Center, will be coming in, a gentleman named Vincent Vernuccio, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he will be also talking about prevailing wage. And as I said, we'll get into that in about a half hour. But surprisingly to me, the Muskegon County Republican Party is getting heat for having an open discussion on a policy that is purely one of choice in Muskegon County. And we're getting complaints and pressure from Republicans, state-level Republicans. We don't want to have this conversation because it might be embarrassing to us. And
never stopped me.
Well, no, it didn't stop you. It's not going to stop us here at Ion Muskegon either. Certainly, the unions and the special interests and those people who are greedily benefiting from the procedures and policies that enrich them on the backs of all of the citizens and the businesses in our county. They don't want us talking about it. But the fact that we have some of the elected Republicans, the state-level Republicans, and others who say don't talk about it because it might be embarrassing, it might upset the unions. Maybe that's a real hint as to what the problem here is in one of the worst states in terms of economic performance in the United States of America. So anyway, if you want to see what unions, Democrats, and Republican leaders don't want you to see or learn about, you can have an opportunity to do this tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, Muskegon Community College. Everyone is invited. We've got a whole bunch of new, very energetic, enthusiastic people in the Muskegon County Republican Party, and they sent me this piece to let you know about it.
So there'll be donuts?
The Republican Party in Muskegon County is kind of broke. Unlike the Democrat Party, which is heavily supported by union members because of the laws that require people to be in unions.
Of what they're going to have the second inauguration party, which doesn't really seem necessary. I mean,
I can see the first one. The second one is kind of redundant. More stars.
More champagne.
Exactly. Well, that doesn't happen here in the Muskegon County Republican Party because we do not have a way to forcefully extract money from folks. But at some point, maybe we'll build things up. Maybe a vegetable tray. We're in a Democrat county, folks. That's the way it is. But anyway,
I didn't know that.
So that issue will be out tomorrow night, and we'll also talk about it in just a few minutes.
Kelly Clark's can come in that party.
We've got some attractive Republican women here. Certainly, I would sing. One would hope not. Okay. Hey, but there's MLive, I think, very graciously put on the Muskegon site the invitation and the information about this Muskegon County Republican Republican Party meeting. And what I found interesting were a couple of comments, and I'll just read this to you. Quote, as a former member of the Muskegon County Republican Executive Committee, and I don't know who this was, I'm glad to see them being active and reaching out publicly to address the pertinent issues of the day. I was not a popular member of the committee due to my true conservatism in economic and social issues. Sounds like the committee's on the right track right now. And then someone else, who I'm not familiar with either, said, please join us Monday night. You will be welcome now. And that's the big difference. This group is interested in fiscal conservatism. We are interested in accountable government. We don't have a problem having conversations
but I think, given that there's so many people that don't
people
understand,
who disagree about issues that might
weapons,
bring a little emotion
to
the table.
And
I do know that we would not have in this state
automatic weapons are
right to
illegal in the United States of America,
and if it wasn't for brave people who stood tall against the thuggery, and truly there is thuggery out there.
As a general rule of thumb, they are illegal. The term automatic weapons, when you hear politicians and idiots on television talking about we've got to ban automatic weapons, they have been banned and they've been illegal for decades.
I might have heard this years ago, but Tracy, are you familiar with the Hobbs Act?
Several weeks ago, instituted by Calvin Coolidge.
No, it's 1946.
Calvin Hobbes reference.
This is old.
No, I got.
More importantly than that, I don't read Calvin Hobbes anymore. Although I used to.
No one does. So we go through all of the obvious questions.
No, get this.
Served in Iraq,
Hobbes got hit by a car. 1946. Quote, labor groups are immune from prosecution under the Hobbs Act provision that criminalized extortion and robbery using the threat or fear of force. So in other words, the Hobbs Act criminalized extortion and robbery using the threat of fear of force. But labor groups are exempt from that. And right now, Senator Mike Lee, this is a U.S. senator at Utah, is attempting to close that loophole. He's not succeeding. So again, we want to talk about the issues, and if it upsets people,
it's been almost 100 years.
That's, I guess, to be expected. Well, I think there's another. I'd like just another couple of points I'd like to talk about in terms of relative to this. We live in Muskegon County, which is right next door to Ottawa County, and I've said time and again that our biggest competition, of course, isn't Texas or Florida or India or any other place. It's Ottawa County, and we most clearly, by every measure, in terms of overspending and overemploying and making it onerous for companies to come into our community, we have succeeded in keeping them out of our community and pushing them into the surrounding communities. And in many cases, the response, certainly by me and others, has been, hey, let's throw the bums out. Well, unfortunately, because of gerrymandering, redistricting, and the like, it's very rare that you see incumbents thrown out. Now, we did this past year, we had 3 county commissioners, 3 new county commissioners, 5 actually, are gone from the old board.
Nobody died in
as a general scandal, we don't.
In fact, Fast and Furious, many dozens of people died, and that was
nationally or locally.
The United States
government. Milton Friedman,
essentially,
the Nobel Prize winning
control of the Attorney General,
extraordinarily brilliant guy,
who
has had all sorts of wonderful quotes. I think I used one last week. But he's got another one that I think is really important, and it says, quote, we don't need to throw the bums out. It's nice to elect the right people, but that's not the way you solve things. The way you solve things is by making it politically profitable for the wrong people
what the
to do the
intent
right
really
thing.
was on the Obama administration's
behalf was to
you got to work with what you got.
Guns from the United States were getting into Mexico, and
if we are fiscal conservatives,
to limit
and we want our elected officials, be they Republican or Democrat, to do the right thing,
people
not
like
just
Morgan and others have really
to the special
interests. I just want to give you one little point. We got a break
pass
coming up
laws
here.
that will give the special interests, those insiders, those crony
teachers in Florida are given free lessons on how to disarm a gunman and fire
extra
weapons.
money
That's
on the
headline
backs
number one.
of.
But headline number
really,
two.
let's face it, it's primarily on the backs of the poor because
rating to
when you
CNN
have a county that excludes and makes it well known that we don't like employers, who gets hit first? Of course, it's employees. So in other words, it's the unemployed, the folks who live here who can't get work, the folks who live here who have to suffer through bad roads or bad policing, or not bad policing, but reduced police protection and other things.
This is your show. I'll let you talk.
Those are the ones who get who pay the penalty. And this is a great opportunity for us to talk about how we can make those people who are elected do the right things. We don't care about the motivation. We just want them to do the right thing. And Roger Miller probably would like that if he wasn't dead. But we're not dead. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after this.
Digestive disease. Luckily, I have my disease under control. But so many of the 1.4 million Americans living with Crohn's
too good to be true car insurance is that it is. That's why Esurance created the Coverage Counseling Tool. It helps you choose the right coverage for you at a great price. Esurance, insurance for the modern world. Now backed by Allstate. Quicker call.
Coverage Counselor highlights toward a future based on cutting-edge research.
America had just gone into war when Felipe Adams volunteered.
Take steps walks taking place around the country this year.
I took a bullet to the side and left me paralyzed. For Armando de la Rosa, the Navy was a chance to serve and see the world.
I got medically discharged in 2001.
Armando and Felipe were brought together by a unique organization that serves our paralyzed veterans.
If there was no PVA, it'd be like confusion. Our training is to better the veteran. We help out with the auto grant, special housing adaptation grant, education, prosthetics. Our main focus is spinal cord injury and disease, but we see anybody.
This is a public service campaign for the
before you even asked my
NFCC.
name was I being taken care of as a veteran, and I thought that was pretty good.
Changing lives, building future.
We're Overeaters
That's
Anonymous,
Paralyzed
and we
Veterans
have
of
helped
America.
thousands of
To
people
learn more,
just like
visit
you. Start living the
PVA.org.
life you deserve. Find us on the web at OA.org.
What's my winning diabetes plan?
Hi, this is Brian Kilmeade inviting you to listen to Medication and Friends.
Got 'em. And
I
my
break down the
insulin
biggest
supplies.
stories of the day in the news and tell you
Most
what I
days.
think.
Blood
Plus,
sugar
you get
level
insight and
on
perspective
target.
from my
Diet,
Fox friends
eating
like
healthy.
Steve Ducey,
A1C
Gretchen
under
Carlson,
control.
Brett Baer,
Managing diabetes,
Chris Wallace,
including
Governor
controlling
Mike
blood sugar,
Huckabee,
is a team
Bill
effort that
Hemmer,
requires a
Mark
plan that's right
McCallum,
for you.
people
For more
like
information,
Ralph
visit
Olvia,
stanforddiabetes.org. Public service of TCOYD made possible with support from Sanofi Aventis US.
24,000 children die every day from preventable causes.
Downtown Spring Lake.
My name is Leo, and I believe that number should be
Talk
zero.
1090.
Believe in zero.
Join the effort.
And the
Visit
Renegade River Show is
UNICEF.org.
right after that break.
The Talk of Muskegon. News Talk 1090. WKBZ.
Mr. Hewitt, this is the guy from the earlier show, Jim Riley. The Eye on the Speaking Show every Sunday morning, 8:30 to 10. Get my little ad in there. But we do have Mike Hewitt on the phone from Las Vegas, the SHOT Show. And those hands are in every pocket of all of your clothes, even those clothes you're not wearing here in Michigan.
Oh, yeah, you're doing a remote, a live remote.
Yeah,
well, it's funny. I got I was doing my show prep, and
that's right. Yeah,
the state of Michigan.
You brought in the second,
I don't know if you've started to do your taxes, but a lot of people have. And there have been a lot of differences in the state taxes this year. I don't want to get into too deep into it. We'll really lose the audience here. But
thank you very much.
Something that shocked me now, the state income tax is reduced from 4.35% to 4.25%. That's good. We want to reduce the size of state government. We want to reduce the taxes to those folks who live here so that we can attract more people to come here. Florida has no state tax. They're booming. We have a state tax.
Anyway,
we're not.
We were talking about something before the break.
Most of us have what's called a homestead property tax credit. So in other words, if you are paying
the situation, and you brought up the situation,
if you're living in your home and you're paying property taxes, you've got a tax credit
some thoughts about
of $1,200, which I think it was actually bigger than that in the past. But anyway, but if your home has a taxable value of greater than $135,000, which isn't a tremendously expensive home in most parts of the state, that cap does not apply any longer. So you say,
really?
Yeah.
senators
that doesn't really affect Muskegon, though. Unless you're on the lake.
Only the evil rich, only the people that we'd like to move to Ottawa County. Yeah, well, that's my point. And that's my point. But the good news is, finally, for the first time, those people who are on the government dole, the teachers and government employees, will be paying taxes on their state taxes on their income. And don't you think that's horribly unfair that feds criminals? The rest of us had to pay taxes on our income, but teachers, police, state, county, city employees did not.
Which is the majority of the working people in Michigan, or a good chunk of it anyway.
And of course, they were screaming bloody murder over that, over the fact that they would have to pay their fair share. I guess fair share matters a lot to those, as long as it doesn't include themselves. Hey, I want to talk a little bit just briefly about what's going on in New York this past week. And I don't know if it's possible. I suspect it's not. If it's possible to get rid of Obamacare, or others, but we're now seeing and law-abiding Americans not just from the cost of Obamacare. We're hearing all over the place that various insurance companies.
My insurance went up due to Obamacare. Was the exact reason they gave.
One of the benefits of the re-election was his ability to quote to have men with guns around at all times in order to protect his daughters.
That it was going to go down.
Now, that is a very honest and understandable feeling. You want to make sure that your children are protected. We know that most of the leaders, and I use that term loosely, but those leaders in the House and the Senate and all the various bigwigs in Washington, D.C.,
but there's another side of it. The children
to very expensive the other side schools, not the quality of care that you receive. D.C. And we know that in New York City, for instance, which is run by Mayor Bloomberg, who is so want to make it illegal for us to have that kind of protection
their maximum
out in the rest of the country.
The drinks that you can buy, which is kind of like the gun control. He says you can't buy, I don't know, 32 ounces, but you could buy 2 16 ounces, or you could buy 10 16 ounces if you're so inclined. Same thing with the gun clip. For some reason, those nannies on the left figure that if you can't buy a gun clip for 12 bullets, then you won't buy 2 10 or 10 for 10 bullets. But anyway, the mayor of New York has a weekly radio show that he goes on, and he's talking about his new plan to reduce the amount of painkillers that are given to people who come into the city-run hospitals. Apparently, in New York, they have city-controlled hospitals. Now, listen to this. This is a quote from Mayor Bloomberg of New York City.
As far as I'm concerned,
his new plan to reduce the amount of painkillers offered
we're just sitting out here in small-town USA, and we're seeing how the average American citizen is responding
the city hospitals
to the fear of being disarmed.
We're going to do it, and we're urging all the hospitals to do it.
We're not worried about Canada invading us. We're not really even worried about, certainly here in Michigan.
Well, then maybe there won't be enough painkillers for the poor who use the emergency rooms as their primary care doctor, the mayor said on his weekly radio show. Number one,
and we're going out spending our hard-earned money. We're in fear
there's no evidence because his plan hasn't been put into place yet.
But plus, when's the last time that guy was in an emergency room? All you got to do is walk in, and you can see.
Exactly. Well, but get this. Number two, supposing it really is true, so you don't get enough painkillers, so you did have to suffer a little bit. The other side of the coin is people are dying and blah, blah, blah. In other words, who cares? So you don't have enough painkillers. That is the nanny state. That is the mindset of the people who are running our health care. Now, remember, this isn't something coming down the pike.
Well, it also affects the economy because if you don't get the extra painkillers, you can't sell them outside the hospital to make a little extra money.
Well, and you know what? That is one of the arguments that is used, that perhaps that physicians are over-medicating, and that's an entirely different issue. If the physicians are over-medicating, then fix that. But just to do an across-the-board, which is what government does all the time.
Do you have any names of those over-medicating physicians?
Well, I don't know. I never plenty when I was going in for my various maladies.
Anyway,
that's the future, folks, and it's not just the future, it's here. This is Britain, the country that we are most like in the rest of the world, with perhaps the exception of our suburb, Canada.
And let me just run by some of the things that
here's we all 60,000 patients put on death pathway without being told, but the Minister of Health says the controversial end-of-life plan is fantastic.
Relocation
centers. The pathway involves
involves being sedated and usually denied nutritional fluids. Families are kept in the dark as when doctors withdraw life-saving treatments. Illegal medical experiments involving infecting people with diseases. Of course, we know that happened here with the black folks down south with the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. And interestingly, it was explained to the victims as they were getting free health care from the United States government.
The death panel, so somebody is going to decide who should get the additional painkillers, who should get the additional nutritional fluids,
when the federal government and state and local governments went in and confiscated guns from everyone because of the historical reporting in good measure of Fox
if you're inclined to go for free, there is a great option out there.
Here.
Here's another
no place would we have to worry about in the United States about a law
it's free,
that would allow indefinite detention of American
is the ultimate goal for almost everything for a certain number
of the National
people in this
Defense
country.
Authority authorization was
here's an interesting report. This is
a few months ago.
I don't know if you've seen this, but Americans die younger, contract more STDs than any other high-income country worldwide. I guess the top.
We're number one.
We're actually one of the bottom.
We're not just
one
talking
off
to
the
TSA
bottom
at airports. This is happening at bus terminals, railways,
here's
subway
to me
terminals,
the quote,
highways,
this is one of the
high school
one of the people who's behind
this. So all of these things that you and I, and certainly those on the left,
research is important,
tell us
but we should not wait for
here.
more data before taking action because we already know what to do. If we fail to act, the disadvantage will continue to worsen, and our children will face shorter lives and greater rates of illnesses than their peers in other rich nations. Now, let's get back to that. Research is important, but we should not wait for more data before taking action. Now, of course, taking action is to give this person billions of dollars to spend on whatever their belief is. It's not necessary to get more data.
Is it kind of like we can't tell you what's in it until you sign it?
Pretty freaking much, yes. Yeah.
That's what we saw with that example.
This is your government, folks. They will do. You know the thing that really shocks me, and I am shocked almost every time I get on the internet, is that these people are in massively high-level jobs, and they are compensated.
Well, in many cases, too, our education system is dumbed down.
Computer
students so much, and
compensated to the max. I don't know if you've heard about this, but there was a gentleman in Detroit, Michigan, who was making out of $120,000, $130,000 a year.
And he was, by all accounts,
that wasn't enough.
Tremendous president.
He had a full-time job. He was involved in
things in the context
sewer or something along those lines.
But he was a very heavy-handed
so he got another job at the same time in Flint. He was making, between the two jobs, he was full-time in Flint employee, full-time Detroit employee, Detroit Water and Sewer Manager, $273,000 between the two jobs.
He was the only person employed full-time.
Yeah, that's not the case. So here's the headline. Moonlighting security official Barnett Jones will keep his job at the Detroit Water Department after resigning. Quote, Barnett Jones is doing a fine job for us at the Detroit Water and Sewer District. Jones came with extensive experience and blah, 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 blah. So in other words, after being found of having two full-time jobs, now he did get fired from, or he did resign actually. He didn't get fired from the Flint job. But the people in Detroit have no problem with the fact that this guy was didn't tell anybody.
Probably a hero. It says security. He was so he didn't like actually work in the sewer like Ralph Cramden. He was a security guy. No, wait, that was Ralph Cramden was a bus driver. It was Ed Norton.
Let's change the subject just a little bit back kind of to what we began talking about, and that is there's a huge shortage of guns, and there's a huge shortage of ammunition.
Yes, that's very possible.
Heavyweight champion and sewer worker.
To get caught up, and is there any legislation or anything that's happening now nationally from the anti-gun forces that can slow things down? So when are we going to be able to buy ammunition in 70 reasonable quantities, and when are we going to be able, or what's on the horizon?
This, by the way, I think was caught by a reporter. Nobody caught it at either place. I promise you, in Detroit, as we're hearing all the time, and in Flint, they're going to tell you, we're out of money, we've cut to the bone, there's no place to cut. We are really doing a great job for you. That's your good minute work, folks. So we're going to take a break, and we'll come back and talk about the term Republicans and Democrats alike don't want you to know about prevailing ways.
Including people from Walmart, where they'll bring in a supply from their storage, where they've got huge quantities that they had in storage of ammunition prior to the election and then the shooting before all the surge in sales.
What's a lever action? What's a pump? What's an automatic? What's a bolt action? Hi, folks. I'm Tom Gresham, and I invite you to join me as we answer these and other questions on Gun Talk. Gun Talk is the only show out there about gun rights, collecting, personal defense, sport, and recreational shooting. And, of course, we never forget about safety on Gun Talk.
It's Gun Talk, Sunday afternoons at 3 on News Talk 1090 WKBZ, the talk of Muskegon.
I don't want a prostate exam any more than you do. I don't want to pay taxes either, but I do. There are just some things you can't escape. Listen, there are more than 2 million American men living with prostate cancer right now. And every 18 minutes, one of those men dies. Early detection and treatment of prostate cancer provides a 5-year survival rate greater than 97%. So spend a few seconds doing what you gotta do. You have the rest of your life to do what you want to do. Go to PCF.org to learn more and join the fight. Brought to you by the Prostate Cancer Foundation.
The talk of Muskegon is News Talk 1090 WKBZ Muskegon and heard 24 hours a day on WOOD HD2 Muskegon.
Anyone listening here, and we ought to get the word out.
You're smart enough to know when a deal seems too good to be true, like a no-sweat workout plan or a $5 prime rib buffet. But when you're shopping for car insurance, it's surprisingly easy to get duped into chronic coverage. That's why eSurance created the Coverage Counselor, an online tool to help you choose the right coverage for you at a great price. Too good to be true? Nope. Just insurance for the modern world. eSurance. Now backed by Allstate. Click or call.
Coverage Counselor highlights options to consider in choosing coverage. Not available in all states.
I knew I was stuck at this kid's house for the night. I decided to just go to sleep and get the night over with. But those guys came into the bedroom and got into a massive pillow fight.
Well,
let me tell you, it's not easy falling asleep when a sweaty little kid falls on you every 5 seconds. Even after the lights went out, Raleigh and his friends stayed up. A bunch of them snuck up on me to try and put my hand in a bowl of warm water drink. Well, that was enough for me. I went downstairs to sleep in the basement, even though it was pitch black. I left my sleeping bag upstairs, and that was a mistake, because it was freezing. I think it was probably the longest night of my life. When the sun came up this morning, I found out the reason it was so cold. I was sleeping right by the sliding glass door, and some fool had gone and left it open overnight. That really sucked, because if I knew there was a way to escape last night, I definitely would have taken it. To read more about the sleepover, check out Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Last Straw by Jeff Kinney. Explore new worlds and check out more cool books at your local library and visit read.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
So anyone who has ever, well, actually, this is very similar to people who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder
Let's go over my
are not
diabetes
allowed
checklist.
to own a handgun. What they're looking at now is anyone who has ever been prescribed with any mental illness,
Check, at least 30
anyone
minutes
who's
most
been
days.
prescribed
Blood
with
sugar level?
an antidepressant or maybe even a drug for ADHD. In other words, all these young kids that we put on Ritalin,
keeping your blood pressure and your cholesterol in
according
zone
to
is also
this
important.
sphere, that they have emotional or mental problems, or therefore, since they have been prescribed and they have emotional weaknesses,
managing
that they
diabetes,
should not be allowed
including
to buy
controlling
drugs,
blood sugar, is a team effort. Keeping your body at its peak performance requires a plan that's right for you.
But this is
a
way
and start taking action now for diabetes. For more information, visit standfordiabetes.org. That's standfordiabetes.org.
A public service PCOID made possible with support from Santa Fe Adventist U.S.
America had just gone to war when Felipe Adams volunteered. I took a bird to the side and it left me paralyzed.
For Armando de la Rosa, the Navy was a chance to serve and see the world.
I got medically discharged in 2001.
For injured veterans like Felipe Adams, there are veterans like Armando de la Rosa ready to help.
Our training is to better the veteran.
Paralyzed Veterans of America, changing lives, building futures. Visit PVA.org.
Here's the official News Talk 1090 WKBZ forecast. A winter weather advisory continues till 11 a.m. A light wintry mix of precipitation this morning will transition to a few snow showers this afternoon with a high of 32. Northwest winds 10 to 20. Scattered flurries and snow showers tonight, a low of 21. Northwest winds 20 to 30. Flurries and a few snow snow showers expected throughout the day tomorrow with a high of 26, and then a mix of sun and clouds on Tuesday at a high in the low 30s. News Talk 1090, the talk of Muskegon.
This is Mike McCready, Pearl Jam's lead guitarist. For the last 24 years, I've been living with Crohn's disease, a chronic and often painful digestive disease. Luckily, I have my disease under control, but so many of the 1.4 million Americans living with Crohn's and a similar disease called ulcerative colitis live day to day not knowing when their disease will strike next. You can help by joining one of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation's 130 Take Steps walks. Sign up today at cctakesteps.org. Take a step, register
frankly, I think the forces of evil are stooping to. And if people like you and I allow them to get away with it, certainly the media will allow them. We've got to speak loudly. And of course, this hasn't been presented yet, but we do already have the national government's got its hands in every pocket of our clothes, and we just found signed into law by President George W. Bush with the same old familiar hands. In other words, all of these prescription drugs, we've got the Mackinac Center to help us out, and one of my favorite guys in the whole state anyway, Jack Spencer. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here, and again, thank you for those of you who've been listening over time. You've heard Jack talk about a variety of issues, but one that he has been very passionate about has been this union scam to rip off the poorest of the poor in our state on this home health care, forced unionization, and home health care and home, what's the other word?
Home caregiver?
Yeah, the home care, yeah. Anyway, so, and you won that, because you never gave up. And I say that the number one person out there to get this done was you, and certainly some of the brave, mostly Republicans who pushed that issue. But we're going to talk about something different, and this is a very critically important issue for people listening here in Muskegon County, and I suspect it's important in any other county that has this onerous scam created purely to enrich insiders with political connections. At the cost, the serious cost of the taxpayers, the businesses, and the citizens in the county, and that is something called prevailing wage. And Jack, maybe you want to explain what prevailing wage is, and we'll take it from there.
Well, basically, prevailing wage is another leftover from a time period when there was just so much money in government that the unions were allowed to just continually have built-in perks and built-in advantages. And of course, it was more easily masked that the taxpayers were getting built because everything was going so comparatively well with the United States dominating world economics and everything that you could make the argument that the more everybody made, the more the economy just tumbled forward, and it was just it was never something that I think taxpayers would have liked if they'd been fully aware of it. Many of them actually were anyhow.
Let's tell them what it is.
Basically what it is that you have a government project, and that project
people are capable
when you hire the people who are going to build something,
the contractors,
etc., they have to pay the workers a prevailing wage. The prevailing wage is an average of the union wage in a particular region.
And it's a little beyond that too, because it includes union benefits, right? And also the way certain counties, and I think Muskegon is similar. It does require, I've done a little homework on that myself, it requires union labor. Hey, Mike, it requires
to make sure that your show continues on by getting some advertising
as a matter of practicality
here. So let's take a little break. We'll be back with the Renegade River Show.
If you're a private contractor and you have your way of figuring how you're going to do the project, and you put in your bid, you're trying to get the low bid possible to do the project, If it's got a prevailing wage on it, you have to average that in, and you probably can't pay it. But so it just chases away a lot of cheaper private contractors from doing these projects.
This is Tracy Lorenz.
I apologize for not introducing you there.
But I am one of those contractors who own a construction company, and it's almost impossible to figure out what the prevailing wage is or what you have to figure for the people that you have to pay. And they check that stuff pretty closely, and it's a big risk if you get it wrong. So it does tend to chase away the non-union contractors.
Dude. The ones that end up working on these big projects usually are little
serving in Iraq.
parts of the
Paralyzed
project.
Veterans of America helped Andy get the auto, housing, and vocational benefits he earned.
It just sets
You
the
can
cost
help our
up so
paralyzed
much
veterans.
that you're basically almost you're limiting who can even bid on the contract, and it's going to be done by union labor.
Well, we just bid on a job out at the Muskegon Winter Sports Complex, putting a new roof on the building, which is a county-owned building that we
they're perfect.
lease or rent or something from
Suzanne, I have no business being in the store.
You would normally figure maybe $8 to $10 an hour for a roofer, and you had to, with prevailing wage, it was I think $30 to $40 plus benefits.
Listen,
so it's a pretty big chunk that someone's paying somewhere down the line.
And let me just add, as a point of clarification, this term prevailing wage, which in its simplest form, I guess, it just requires who's ever going to bid to use union wages, union benefits, and that type of thing. This is not a national law. It is not a federal law when it comes to, or a state law when it comes to county spending. It does cover monies that are given from the federal government, and it does cover monies that are given from the state government. But at the county level, and this is why it's important now, because the county is talking about building a jail anywhere from $30 to $50 or $60 million. And Muskegon County commissioners have imposed this rule on the county, essentially on themselves, to force anybody to bid on this to
every day. They don't have to die.
Be under prevailing wage. And how does that matter to us here in Muskegon County? Well, if you're going to spend, let's just say, $40 million, and Jack, you wrote an excellent article in the Muskegon Capital, or the Michigan Capital Confidential, where you said that the cost is what, up 10, maybe up to 20%.
Well, and you're trying to make these estimates, and actually, I think the story lowballs it, because first of all, it's a project, as you mentioned there, there's still this wide gap as to how much it's going to cost and so on. And try to figure it out. So you tend to lowball how much more it's going to make things cost. A lot of studies have been done, putting it at 10 to 14% increases when they're done with prevailing wage. Back in Center's done its own study. There have been other ones nationally, and it's pretty much that range, 10 to 14 to 15% more. You made a very important point there, Jim, though, that it is the locals who make the decision as to whether they have prevailing wage or not. If the monies aren't coming from the state or the monies aren't coming from the federal government, they have very little choice in those areas when the funding is actually coming from elsewhere. But what's tricky is you call and you ask, okay, how come you're doing this? And there's quite often the answer you'll get back is, well, we have to do what the state prevailing wage is. And that's misleading, because it's the locals who pass that rule to go. What they're talking about when they say that is, we're going to use the state formula, but it still is up to local government to decide whether they do that or not when they're raising their own money.
And let me just,
which is what Muskegon's doing.
Let me just interrupt here for a sec, though, because That is what we're getting time and again and again, sadly, from the elected officials and some of the supervisory folks here in Muskegon County. They will give us that half-truth, that sophistry, that, will send you off in the wrong direction, even though we know the full story. And let me just quote from the article that you had written, which, by the way, is in, you can find it in the Michigan Capital Confidential. You can Google Mackinac Center. It's also on ION Muskegon and on MuskegonPundit.com here. Quote, on December 13th, Muskegon County Administrator Bonnie Hammersley told Michigan Capital Confidential that she'd prefer the prevailing wage ordinances not applied to the jail project. And my understanding is that if we don't have federal dollars in it, we don't need to use prevailing wage. We won't use it unless we have to because it's an administrative burden. It adds to the cost. So clearly, the county is not in the dark about this. And we have nine newly sworn-in county commissioners. Well, I think it's important to, you and I having a conversation. And I'd just like to jump over to Tracy because even though Jack is saying that maybe we've had similar increases 10 to 15%, and it's probably higher than that. But that's of the entire project, much of which you asked Oscar what his thoughts were about having materials and things that aren't teachers.
If it's a labor-intensive project, it's going to be a lot higher.
What did you just say? From $8 to $10 to $30 plus benefits. Your response was really
it's a big chunk. Plus,
the only thing I worry about is the kids themselves at school.
The administration
get a hold of these guns. I mean, how are they going to
prevailing wage job is that's money on top of that because you have to show every employee what they were paid and what they used to be paid. And
that's interesting.
Yeah, you can't just they don't just take your word for it.
So you have to file any number.
You've got to show that you actually paid these people that much money. One of the problems I have at the sports complex, and this may sound we're not getting around, but most of the work that's done out there is done by prisoners.
But the flip side of it is
that's interesting.
They bring them out there to bus, and the prisoners do most of the labor out there for the ice rinks and luge track and whatever else. It's done by prisoners. So they said, well, you can use the prisoners when you're scraping off the old roof and stuff. They can load up the dumpsters. And no one could answer me, do I have to pay the prisoners prevailing wage? Do those fall under my jurisdiction?
Nobody can answer that.
Nobody can tell me if I had to bump my bid up a little bit because I didn't want someone come back later and go, oh yeah, you got to pay these prisoners $32 an hour.
Well, this is government interference, and it's self-imposed. It is our county commissioners. Remember, there are only 9 people in the county, actually only 5, if you get 5 of them to vote one way or the other, that are actually enforcing this, imposing this on the taxpayers and the businesses in Muskegon County. Jack, you had written extensively about this, and we are one of the few counties in the state that actually does this self-imposition on higher expenditures. Is that correct?
Yes, one of only a handful out of the 83 states. It's just you can count them on one hand.
Well, Oscar, I mentioned Detroit, and seems to me your
Wayne County and Genesee County are on that same hand.
Yeah, it's
you're
sort
not necessarily
of the usual suspects.
Someone look at a failed county, look at a failed prospect, but you are observant enough and intelligent enough to see that, wait a minute,
Muskegon's got
who carries these guns,
and we can see who else is utilizing the same
that there would be a
ridiculous
way that,
laws.
Let's say take every school in just Muskegon County, for instance.
Jim, we've been seeing in the last year Bay City getting rid of theirs. We've seen Eaton County get rid of their prevailing wage.
Or someone maybe perhaps even a higher guard. But do you think that there'd be a way that
still even
people
moving
could work
further
out
and further
to
away
make
from
this work so that children would be safe?
It's just as disgusting as it gets because at the same time,
and we're being told that the county is, really cut back. They're to the bone. That the services are cut back. That in fact are, even though our county tax is double what it is in Ottawa County, even though that our unfunded pension and retirement for the county employees is in the hundreds to over $100 million. They're telling us that money's tight. We've got to do the right thing, and yet
waiting for.
They're going to stick with their cronies,
and even just
with their buddies who've greased their palms in a variety of ways to keep this scam going so that the taxpayers of the county are going to pay millions and millions of additional dollars. And let me give you a little anecdote. A few years ago, the Republican Party volunteers were standing in front of Walmart, and they were ringing the bell for the Salvation Army. And of course, we all know that unions and Democrats in particular have been really going after Walmart because it's a non-union good story at how horrible Walmart is. Well, when it comes to spending your own money, it seems that Democrats tend to be a little more, let's say, interested than when it comes to spending other people's money. And as we're ringing the bell, trying to get some money for the Salvation Army, up walks who didn't catch who we were because we had kind of Santa hats on, the chairman of the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners and a very notable Democrat, Ken Mahoney, who was just reelected. And Ken saw us and took a stop. He took a start. He said, "Oh my gosh, these Republicans are going to see me coming into Walmart." And of course, he was outed at that point, and he said hi and went in. Well, this is a gentleman that I'm sure, when he's hanging with his Democrat cronies, is more than happy to demonize those folks at Walmart because his pocket matters. His own money. He's no different than a Republican in that respect, and no different than any other citizen. But when it's somebody else's money,
when I was there,
and he can shovel it
a few years later, they did
to the insiders who created this scam by their own law, and then they'll go out and they'll tell people, "Oh, we had to abide by these policies. You know, we had these policies in place." They could change that next Tuesday if they want.
Now, Jack, do you know if with prevailing wage they can be selected by bid category? Like, can you say it has to be union plumbers and union electricians, but they can be non-union general laborers, roofers, drywallers, whatever, painters?
I'm not sure how they do that.
In Muskegon County, it does not break it down. You can go right on the county, right on Ion Muskegon. We've got a link to. Well, you know, it's interesting. Here we are talking about this because the ultimate goal, certainly as 12 years ago, and they put it in such a manner so it didn't have to be re-approved. So the current Board of Commissioners, because all three of us here vote for that. On this radio show, voted for it by not bringing it up. But it does cover everything, and you wouldn't believe. I went through and looked at the paperwork, as you just said, Tracy, the requirements and proof of the benefits, all sorts of stuff. It is an absolute nightmare unless you're a big insider union shop where that's what everybody does. Taking care of the guns that are used illegally.
I mean, the story that I wrote here that you quoted from, your own county administrator there, the day that I did that, he seemed to think they still had the option not to use prevailing wage. And it was the next day that she had, and I was glad, she's very nice to make sure they got back with me, but she had someone else who was more familiar with the project call me back and basically saying, yeah, we do have to do prevailing wage.
And isn't that, I mean, think about this. You're talking about, Muskegon County doesn't have enormous projects very often. This is a very, very important big issue. One of the things that's in your article that frankly stunned me, and what you just told me sort of stuns me, that the county administrator wouldn't even be aware of it. But the chief financial person, supervisor at the county, who's a gentleman named Heath Kaplan. And we have a Second Amendment. This is not just somebody's law. When you this is the amendment to asked, apparently, the ordinance would add $2 million or more to the project. Quote says, that seems somewhat high to me. However, he said he wasn't certain of a better estimate. So in other words, not only were they unaware of it, and they continue probably to not let people know much about it, but they haven't even bothered to sit down and say, okay, look, let's find out what would it cost us to have prevailing wage for a particular project, and what would it cost us not to? At least as a general rule of thumb.
It would not be that difficult to do. You just call the separate contractors, and we put together estimates all the time for our budgets.
Hey, Mike, we're running a little out of time here.
Call a union electrician, call a non-union, call a union, whoever in a non-union, and just compare them.
You could talk a little bit about this is for the insiders, this is for those folks, those cronies who have created. There's all this talk on the left in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let me tell you, folks, this angers the heck out of me. This is pure greed. This is pure insider trading. This is, and we've got leaders who we pay a significant amount of money. Let me tell you, County Administrator Hammersley makes a lot of money for somebody here in Muskegon County. The community college. And so does Heath Kaplan. And they are going to have from the Mackinac Center that they didn't even know this. Of Labor Policy. I mean, seriously, that's prevailing wage, which is, frankly, it's a big union ripoff, and it may very well cost the citizens of Muskegon County up to 5 or maybe even $10 million extra dollars in new construction projects coming down the road. So here's my little ad. Everybody's invited tomorrow, 6 o'clock, MCC. Mike, thank you for letting me sit in for you, and I'm looking forward to your show next week, because you're going to bring all sorts of cool stuff from Vegas. You would know to the penny.
Thank you for for having me on my show.
Yeah, well, your article again. The title of the article is "County Prevailing Wage Law Could Add Millions to Taxpayer Costs." We've got a break coming up, and I'd like you to hang on if you could, because you had suggested
a great show
that maybe there's some good news coming down the pike about this.
Every Sunday,
this
from 10 to 1
onerous
o'clock. And by the way,
scam against
we're going to be putting
the good folks of Muskegon County.
One
that could be
afternoon. Last week's
in literally
Renegade River
30
Show was
seconds
also
with a quick vote. So
we'll be back after the break. Mike up to speed, so he'll have his own website.
Very nice. Thank you, gentlemen.
Bye-bye now. Have a great week.
The truth about too good to be true car insurance is that it is. That's why Esurance created the Coverage Counselor tool. It helps you choose the right coverage for you at a great price. Esurance. Insurance for the modern world. Now backed by Allstate. Click or call.
Coverage Counselor highlights options to consider in choosing coverage. Not available in all states.
The Talkin' Muskegon program can now be heard live every morning, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. here on News Talk 1090. This is John Ben White.
And Brian Worsham. We will focus on community events, news, weather, and sports. We'll also bring you traffic updates, weekly segments like the movies with Ron Van Timmeren, Biker Report, and Lumberjacks. This is Talkin' Muskegon right here, 8 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of Muskegon. News Talk 1090.
I can solve difficult problems for a Fortune 500 company.
I can run a successful business.
I can manage your home improvements.
I can publicize your message.
I can motivate your audience.
I can put my military experience to work for your company.
I can teach your children.
Today's world
I can boost your bottom line.
I can add value to your workplace.
I could be a loyal
there are places we can go to refocus our senses.
But I can't put my skills to work for your organization
if I'm not given the opportunity.
If you don't recognize my talents and ability.
If you don't hire me.
If you don't have an open mind and a workplace that's open to everyone.
If you don't realize that America works best when everybody works.
What can you do?
What can you do?
What can you do?
You can remember that it works.
It's what people can do.
It's what people can do that matters.
Nearly 50 million Americans have disabilities. Capitalize on their talents with employment practices that benefit everyone. Learn more at whatcanyoudo.campaign.org.
You don't have to go far to make a
In the
special
streets
connection
below,
with
traffic
nature.
had stopped.
Learn
Pedestrians
more
were
at
lying on sidewalks and curled up in doorways.
fws.gov/refuges.
There was no
That's
sign of violence, no wrecks,
fws.gov/refuges.
nothing like that.